So welcome to the call tonight, guys. Thank you guys so much for taking the time. Hopefully you guys can all see me. Because all of your lines should be muted right now. I went ahead and I've hit record. Hopefully I'll be able to get this recorded and get this up on Facebook for those who could not join the meeting. It's hard because sometimes when I record these meetings, it's a little bit harder because it takes so much space for me to record. And of course I'm not recording in my house, so it's a little bit harder for me to do that too. So I wanted to talk a little bit about nutrition. I don't have my containers with me. I thought my mom had the containers, but for some reason she doesn't. So I do want to go through those with you guys real quick. A lot of questions had been asked, like how do you tailor this program with the containers so everybody can follow their own meal plan when there's so many different meal plans. How do we know which one is for us? So I'm going to answer that question first because that one seemed to be a lot of people had asked that same question. So basically with the meal plans and how the 21-day fix is ran, how Max 30 is ran, and now how Size, which is the new meal plan that just came out with the new program, is ran, is they use the containers as a way to measure your food. So it's a way to measure your portion size. And as we've talked about before and in many other meetings, whether you've talked to me personally or you've talked to coaches inside the group, one of the biggest misconceptions that people have is when people start to put food on their plate, they don't realize how much food that they are eating and how, if you guys are just joining, I really need you guys to mute your lines. So please make sure that you're muting your lines. I'm going to send Carol a note too to make sure that she mutes her line because it does cause a little bit of background noise. So when you guys are plating your food, one of the biggest and the most important things about your plates is that it is in proportion for your bodies. If you are eating more calories than your body needs, what is going to happen is you're going to gain weight. And that's why so many of you guys have been in situations where you're like, I'm not eating very much. I know I'm eating really healthy and I know I'm eating really clean, but I'm still gaining a lot of weight. Just because you're eating healthy, it doesn't mean that you're, you could eat chicken and you can eat this and you can eat, salads, you can eat sauteed vegetables, but still if you're eating too much food, your stomach is going to expand. And then what ends up happening is that when you do go out and you are having maybe a meal that isn't exactly the healthiest or the cleanest meal, you're going to find that you're going to want to eat more because that's what you're used to. So scaling your eyes down and to proportionate to what your body needs is what these containers were really going to help you do. It's also going to help you teach you, like mentally, emotionally, teach you guys a lifestyle that is going to, as you've seen in the groups, change the way that you live your life. So when I give you guys a meal plan, yes, it is a general meal plan, but there is nobody in this group, nobody, that should be eating more than 1,800 calories unless you are pregnant or you are nursing. If you are pregnant or you are nursing, we should be having a conversation that is separate outside this group, and I will tell you guys what you should be having. But as far as I'm concerned, most of you guys in this group are not pregnant, nor are you nursing. So your meal plan and your allotment is going to be somewhere between, if you're 5'5" or taller and 150 pounds or more, between 5'5" and 150 pounds and more, you're going to be right around 1,750. If you are at 5'5" and under 150 pounds, then you're going to be right around 1,500. Maybe if you're on the taller side of that 5'5", you might be pushing right around 1,650 to 1,680 for caloric intake. And that pretty much goes for my teens too. I'm 5'4.5" and I don't have a lot of body fat. And if I don't work out every single day, if I don't do something that's, calorically every single day, I don't burn more than 1,500 calories a day. There is a huge misconception in what our bodies actually truly need and what we have been told that they need. What our bodies truly need are vitamins, they are minerals, they are nutrients that we are not getting from foods anymore today. And that is why Shakeology has been such an amazing tool to use inside of these groups. So I do have my Size book, and because I know a lot of you guys have the 21-day fix, I think almost all of you do, and a lot of you guys have Max 30. They did Size the exact same way, so I'm just going to use this as a point of reference since I don't have any of the other books with me. So one thing that they did change, which you guys know, because if you've been with me since the very beginning, Autumn and I have always had a very different philosophy. She's all about carbs, and she thinks that some fruits, I think bananas are a carb, and she thinks they're a fruit, and we kind of go back and forth about that. And it's kind of funny because we did have an opportunity, I did have an opportunity to bring that up to her over the weekend. It was pretty funny. The differences between philosophies, not recipes. Okay, so whoever just came in, you guys mute your line, please. Thank you. So how they rewrote it in this plan is basically what you're going to be seeing in the new meal plans that I write. And it basically says Plan A is 150 pounds and lower, and Plan B is 150 pounds and higher. The carbs are at 3, and this is a little bit different for you guys. Your vegetables are at 4, your fruits are at 3, your proteins are at 4. So 4 proteins across the board, whether you're higher on that higher end of 150 or lower end of 150. Your carbs are at 2, and if you're on the lower end of the 150, and the carbs are at 3, which is nice because I like to see those carbs a little bit on the lower side. Your salad, your dressings, your oranges are going to drop down to 1. I think before you guys were at 2. Your oils, nuts, and butters on the Plan A, you're at 2 of the little teaspoons instead of 4. And on the Plan B, you're at 4. So I will print this and I will post this because this is the new grid and the new guide that I will be going with. And hopefully you guys can still see me. But this is the new grid and the new guide that I will be going with. It's a little bit different, but this is more, in my opinion, this is the more effective way. And I think I've talked to you guys about this before because I know a lot of you guys were like, well, I'm just going to follow what Autumn does because I really like this plan. And I was very, very happy to see that they made this change. Our bodies are not all created equally, but what has happened with the carbohydrates today, how the carbohydrates are processed is very different than when I was a kid and than when many of us in this group were kids. When we look at our own children to have a better understanding of the carbohydrates and how they are processed in our bodies today is going to affect their nutrition, it's going to affect them going forward. So as far as the containers go, if you are eyeballing it and you really haven't been measuring out to the measuring in the containers and then putting them on your plates, I really want you to do that. It is a good, it's good to retrain your eyes. It's good to go back to the basics. I know a lot of you guys that have been in this group have kind of been struggling for the last 3 or 4 weeks. Like, gosh, I had such great results the first month through this program. It's because you guys were so spot specific. You guys were very, very, you're very on. And that's another reason why I said, okay, we're going to take a week or 2 off because it happens. Life happens. You guys kind of get going and you're getting into your routine, and it's summertime and people are traveling, people are going on vacations. And, for some reason, summertime is an excuse to drink lots of beer and lots of wine. I mean, I get it. So we're kind of going back to the basics. Summer's kind of coming to the middle of July. We're going to go into August. And it's going to be a little bit more hometown stuff. Like we're at home, we're settling back down into getting the kids ready for school. So, hey guys, mute your lines, please. Hey Jackie, can you mute your line, babe?
Sure. Sorry, I thought it was already muted. Hold on a second.
That's okay, no problem. You got your headphones on and you're rocking out. Okay, so thank you. So when we talk about Shakeology, and I know that a lot of you guys, one of the questions was, I really want to understand, can you talk to me about how Shakeology works in the body again? Because I know you explained it to me before, and I just want to understand how it's going to work. So, and this is good for whether or not you're brand new to the group or just as a reminder of what Shakeology is and what it is not, okay? So Shakeology is not the, I'm going to drink this drink and it's going to give me all the stimulants that I need and it's going to give me a good caffeine jolt and I'm going to be able to go out and run a mile. That's not what Shakeology is. Shakeology is not I'm going to drink this drink and I am going to lose weight because the bag says, drink me and I'm going to lose weight. And I'm going to lose 50 pounds this week because that's what Shakeology says. That is not what Shakeology is, okay? Shakeology is all of the vitamins, minerals, nutrients that our body does not get anymore from foods that we eat. Why doesn't our body get it from the foods that we eat anymore? Is because how how our food is processed and how our food is manufactured, from whether it comes from the, from the farms in, the Midwest to, our local farms here in Oregon or in California or in Idaho or wherever you're located. The amount of fertilizers they use and the amount of just how the land is even, as how it's even processed, and the chemicals that they put inside and the hormones that they're using inside of the foods. And even if, or inside of the fruits and vegetables, and even if it is, it says it's GMO safe and it doesn't have, any kind of additives or preservatives added to it, while that may indeed be correct, what happens is the irrigation and how there's crossover between, hi Luce.
Hi.
Hi, can you mute your line please, babes? I don't know if she heard me. I think she did. So there's a little crossover, and that causes a little bit of spillage into our fruits and vegetables. So fruits and vegetables today, and even the canned foods today, the processed meats, the processed anything that's from a freezer section. I mean, I tell this to my groups all the time, walk around the outside of the grocery store. Don't walk inside the middle of the aisles. It's so hard for our bodies to digest those foods. And what ends up happening is our digestive systems has to work overtime, and it has to work harder to digest those foods. It has to break them down using our digestive enzymes, our prebiotics, our probiotics. And in the meantime, as things are going in, they're trying to digest the foods, what seeps out into the bloodstream, because you eat your food, it goes inside your digestive system. Whoever line is not muted, can you guys please mute your line? It goes inside of your digestive system, and your circulatory system sends out to your major muscle groups and organs whatever has been digested. So if you are eating foods that are heavily processed, if you are eating foods that are, you go out to dinner and they've got a lot of salt, they've got a lot of fat, they've been, deep fried, any of that stuff. And even if it's not deep fried, but you leave the restaurant and you're like, gosh, I'm so thirsty. Chances are it was very heavy, and there's a lot of sodium. Sodium is, in effect, it's a preservative. So it takes a lot for your body to have to go through that. And it takes a lot for it to have to digest that. And that is what is causing our bodies to slow down. Our circulatory system slows down. That, in effect, causes our muscles and our major organs not to get the vitamins and minerals that they need. So the receptors that go up to the brain go up in a delayed format. So when they go up to the brain, that delayed format, what ends up happening is you feel hunger. You feel like you're not satiated. That means you don't feel full. You end up craving foods. Craving foods does not mean that you really want that food. It means that your body is deficient in something. So if you're ever feeling like, gosh, I really need more food, chances are you're just deficient. A lot of people have iron deficiencies. A lot of people they're deficient in calcium. They're deficient in vitamin D, and your body will let you know that. So what Shakeology does is it gives your body that platform. It gives your body the ability to digest foods properly, because now you're getting digestive enzymes that your body's not getting ordinarily from the foods that we're eating. You're also getting prebiotics, probiotics. The prebiotics and the probiotics are going to go in and are going to help support your digestive system. And that is going to help support your circulatory system. When your circulatory system is being supported by your digestive system, both hand in hand support your metabolism. That's how Shakeology works. It is not a miracle shake. It is not, to me, I think it's gold. I love it because I know what it does for the body. But I want to set that platform up. There's so many people that come up to me like, well, why don't you support, Isogenic? Why don't you support, this one thing called Keystone? Or why don't you support, Advocare? Why don't you support all these other products? I can't support those other products. They have chemicals, they have stimulants in them, they have things in them that are not conducive to what your body needs. So this is something that's going to help support your body from the very beginning. Should you drink it in the morning? Absolutely. Why should you drink it in the morning? Well, it's kind of like this. If you want your body to work the best that it can all day long, then you want it to give it the best from the very beginning, from the time that you wake up. If you have it at night, is it going to is it going to be worse for you? It's not going to be worse for you. It's just your body, when you go to sleep, it should be at rest. So,
whatever you're doing.
Can you guys mute your line, please? I don't know whose line is open, but if it just sends, I can hear you guys on my end. So if you can just mute your line, I think it's 949. I can't tell the number because the sun's glaring, but 949-549, I think it's 7355. I don't know. I can't even see it. But anyway, so I want you guys to have that support with your digestive system, and that's why Shakeology in the morning or midday is the best for you. At night, your body should be at rest. Your muscles need to be at rest. Your body should not be working hard at night. That's why I say don't eat anything before 2 or 3 hours before you go to bed, because you want your body to have that rest. You want your organs and your muscles to have that rest so they can heal, so they can, whatever you've done throughout the day, you want your body to be at rest so they can grow, so your muscles can grow, so you can be replenished, you can get hydrated, and when you wake up, you're feeling good and you're not feeling sore. And water. We need to make sure we're drinking lots of water throughout the day too, because especially in the summertime, dehydration sets in, and that also causes muscle cramps. That also causes soreness and stiffness of the muscles, and it can also cause accidental tearing of the muscles. So making sure that you're plenty hydrated. I'm not talking just like 28 or 28 or 29 ounces of water. I'm talking like 34 to 62 ounces of water, depending on your body height and your weight. So if you have any questions about how much water you should really be taking in, we can definitely have a conversation about that. So I've talked a lot about that. I want to open up the call so I can answer some of your guys' questions. So without everyone unmuting all at once, if there is a way that we can kind of seamlessly do this, so I'm not getting like 50 questions on at once to me, that would be great. So if any of you guys have any questions, why don't you go ahead and unmute, and then I can kind of see who's unmuting, and then I can ask questions from there. If that helps at all. If you guys don't have any questions, I mean, I can just continue talking because God knows I can talk. So, does anybody want to start out with a question? Okay, so I'm going to answer.
Sorry, it took me a while to unmute. So just so I understand, are you going to be covering also the containers?
So in regards to the containers, so Jackie, in regards to the containers, I covered the containers a little bit from just using the book that I have. I don't have the containers with me. I thought my mom had the containers here and she doesn't. So what is your specific question on the containers? I actually posted a little post to the group saying your specific questions on your containers, I'll be able to answer them. Since I don't physically have them with me to be like, hey, so what is is there a specific question for me?
Yeah, because to be honest with you, I've never used the containers, and mostly because I don't understand, like, for example, when I cook for my family, I don't separate things by containers. So if let's say I make a stew, or if I make something baked, or how do I separate that, and how do I know how much of what I should be eating? You know what I mean?
That's a really good question. So soups and stews, I know someone asked me a chili question earlier. It's very hard when you're doing something like a soup or a stew. But in regards to using the containers for meat products, so let's just use one of these for example. So here's and again, this program is a little bit easier. It's kind of more how I do it. So you have a list of what goes inside the container. So for your green container, it's all your vegetables. It's lettuce. It's your asparagus, your broccoli, your cauliflower, your spinach. Anything that's green or considered a vegetable goes inside your green containers. Inside of your red containers, it's protein. So that's chicken, that's fish, that's garbanzo beans. It's all of those broad, all the way from sardines and every single variety of fish that you can think of to pork, chicken, and turkey. Your purple is your fruits. So when you're looking at building a meal, let's say, and your yellow is your carbohydrates, I always seem to leave those yellows out. I don't know what's wrong with me. But so when you are building your meals, for example, let's say you're making a salad. Just because it's a salad doesn't mean that you can eat an endless bucket full of salad. There is limits and restrictions on how much salad your body truly needs. So if you're going to take, for lunch, you're going to have a salad with chicken and let's say a side of strawberries, okay? And you're going to put a dressing on it. So you're going to take, let's say you use 2 containers of your greens. So you fill it up with spinach. You fill your little green container up with spinach, and that's really a 1 cup container from what I remember off the top of my head. You fill it up with your green spinach, and let's say you cut up and you dice up some green pepper and some mushrooms, and you dice up maybe a little bit of carrots and some broccoli, and you just chop it up really, really fine. You fill up your next green container. So now you've used 2 green containers. You put it inside of a bowl, and then you take your chicken. Let's say you're having chicken with your salad. You chop up your chicken, you put it inside your red container, you put it in your bowl. So now you've had 2 greens and 1 red. And let's say you're gonna have your side of strawberries. You slice your strawberries up, you put them in your purple container, and you put it on your plate. So now you've had, for this meal, you've had 2 greens, 1 red, and 1 purple. And inside of that day, you know that, like we just talked about, everybody has everyone has a little guide that they use, and I have all these guides available to you guys in the file section, along with the tally marks. So let's say your plan is on plan A. Well, now you've already had 2 of your greens, so you know you're only gonna have 1 more green at dinner. And you've already had 1 of your fruits, so now you're only gonna have 1 more fruit, and that's gonna be sometime during dinner. Let's say, unless you've had a Shakeology. If you've had a Shakeology, then you've already had 1 of your fruits if you put a banana or any kind of fruit inside your Shakeology. So now your purples are done for the day. Because remember, we're starting at lunch. I always leave breakfast off of my meal plans because I'm assuming that you guys are all drinking your Shakeology for breakfast. If you drink a Shakeology for breakfast, that is 1 red and 1 purple. And if you're using almond milk, that's a yellow. And they actually do go over that in this book. They change that up. So if you're looking here, where it says like your Shakeology, it says that you could pick your liquid as 1 serving. So your water or cow's milk is a yellow. All of these is now yellow. And almond milk is now yellow. Rice milk is now a yellow. So that does count as a yellow, which I'm really happy about, because for a long time they weren't even counting that, or they were counting it as a half. So now they did change that over to a full. So if you're putting 1 yellow, 1 red, and 1 purple in your shake, then you're gonna wanna make sure that you mark that off on your tally sheet. So that would leave you for dinner with, so now you've had 2 proteins, because you've had your shake in the morning, you've had 1 purple, and now you've had your second purple, so you're done with your fruits, and you still have 1 green, and you still have 2 proteins left for dinner. So, and even 1 healthy fat, which could be avocado. So then for dinner, let's say you have, since you still have 2 proteins left, you can have 2 servings of chicken, or 2 servings of your steak, or 2 servings of turkey, or whatever your protein is for that night, 2 servings of fish. So 2 servings of fish and 1 serving of your vegetables and 1 serving of your healthy fat. To me, it's just a better, and I was just using the leaner, example from the 150 and lower, and not the 150 and higher. If you're 150 and higher, you get 1 more carb, and you do get 1 more fruit. But if you're 150 and lower, you don't have as many. So that's how the containers work, Jackie. It's actually a very visual, because I'm a very visual person. It's a very visual measurement of what is an appropriate portion size. Because there's so much confusion from whether you're an adult, whether you're a child. I mean, I go through this with my own kids. We go to the store, or we go to the restaurant, and they don't know what is appropriate portion size, because we have been raised with a thing that bigger is better. Ever since Costco and North Chuckwagon and all these buffets, people think that the more food on your plate, the better. And that's not what our body needs. So this is scaling everything down to what our body needs. And it really retrains your eye. And that is so, so, so important to understand what your body needs and not what your body wants. So does that help?
Can I ask a question?
Does that help, Jackie?
Yes, thank you. Thank you so much, Rachel.
Oh, you're welcome.
Can I ask just quick question?
Yes. Hi, Auntie.
If is the vegetables cooked, you're cooking for your family,
right?
You have vegetable and so how do you measure after?
After, yes, after. So that's a great question, because what happens after you cook is you do lose a little bit of those nutrients. So you kind of have to make it a little bit bigger. And I don't know when we've sauteed spinach, you put this big thing of spinach inside the green container, and then you put it in, and then it comes down to like that much. So you almost have to think that you've lost that much nutrients. So yes, it would be a full container. And that obviously is a lot of spinach. If you ever cook down some spinach, you know how much it shrinks down. There's a lot of water in vegetables. And when you cook vegetables down, you do lose a lot of that, of the water that's in, you lose a lot of the water. So you do lose a little bit of those minerals that goes out with the water. And when you cook them, you lose a little bit from them. So do know that when you do cook vegetables, you lose about 30 to 40%.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So does anyone else have, love the questions? It really helps me to be able to help you guys more specifically. I did have a question that came in that they had asked me about chili. How do you measure the chili when you're making a chili? Because it is really hard. If you're making like a 3-bean chili, obviously those would be, you would separate your beans into your yellow containers as such. So you kind of have to eyeball that. Soup and chili has been very, very difficult. It really does it becomes an eyeball measurement. And I wish that there was a more accurate way of doing it. The only way that I can think of is if you're doing it in a measurement type form, you're going to take your let's say it's a vegetable soup. You're going to take your vegetables and kind of look at it and measure it inside of your green cup. But if it's a broth, then I wouldn't worry so much about the next to the container for the broth. But if it is a cream-based broth, obviously that's a completely different, container altogether. And we shouldn't be having any cream-based soups. However, someone asked me about salsa, like why is tomato a vegetable, and then once you cook it and salsa becomes a fruit, becomes a purple container. And that's because when you cook with your tomatoes, when you saute them or cook them, they do lose what we talked about. They lose that the vitamins and minerals from them. And so therefore, when you make that salsa, it does, just like pasta sauce is a purple container. And it's just because of the way that the tomatoes get cooked down and they lose their nutrients. So yeah, those soups and things are very, very difficult to measure, but you just have to do your best. And when you've been in the program long enough and you've been measuring your containers the way that you're supposed to be, it does make it a little bit easier. So hopefully that helps. Does anyone have any questions about Shakeology and the better time of day for you to have it, or any kind of questions with Shakeology in your meal plans at all? Anyone? Okay. So I am going to finish up with just kind of talking to you guys about, why you guys are here and how this program has helped so many things and not just weight loss. One of the things that I've learned over the last 4 or 5 months is that when you start feeling better and when your body starts working better and when it starts working naturally the way that it was supposed to be, the way that our bodies were made to work, you start having a different expectation, especially when you start losing weight from the very onset. People think this is all about losing weight. It is a lifestyle change. And if you do come off and you lose track a little bit, it doesn't mean that you stay there. It means that you get yourself back up, you dust yourself off, and you get back on track. This is life. No one's perfect. No one's going to stay on the perfect plan forever. But it does mean that you are working towards understanding your body and your body's needs. And that's really important. It's also really important to make sure that you're fueling your body right and understanding that everyone's body is very, very different and that everybody's body doesn't necessarily need the same thing. But what we do need and what we're not getting, and why we choose to use Shakeology in our meals is because our body craves that vitamins. It craves those nutrients. And unfortunately, we're just not getting them anymore in the foods that we eat. And so by replacing them and by nourishing your body the way that it's supposed to, then you're saying to your body that I'm willing to take the time to treat you right. But that doesn't mean that, and I know that I was talking to someone yesterday, like, well, I've been drinking my Shakeology, and then, I wasn't seeing any results. And I was like, well, what were you doing for the other 2 meals? Like, well, we eat out because I work at, my business office, and we eat out every day. And then I would just come home, and sometimes it'd be so late, 7:30 or 8 at night, I'd make a steak and I'd have, baked potato. And I'm like, well, wait a second. Like, you got to look at what time you're eating your dinner. If you're eating your dinner at 8:30 or 9 at night, and then you're going to bed at like 10:30 or 11, your body is working so hard at still digesting your food at 9:30 or 10 o'clock at night that there's not getting the rest that it needs. Remember, just because it's on the inside of your body, it doesn't mean that it's not working. when you eat, your entire body is working at trying to digest the food. So that means your blood is circulating and it's surrounding your digestive system in order to try to push out to your major muscle groups and organs all the vitamins and minerals it needs from the food that you just ate. It shouldn't be doing that when you go to bed. When you go to bed, everything should be at rest, so everything can, wake up in the morning and be energized, and you're not really feeling that soreness and that stiffness, because it's, blood to your body, blood to your muscles is like food to your stomach. So you want to make sure that everything is getting fed and getting nourished properly when you go to bed at night. So I want to really become, in these groups, someone more of a nutrition person for you guys. And that's why I've kind of told my coaches that I want them to start running the groups more. I will be in every single group, but I want to be able to help you guys there and support your nutrition. One of the great things of having someone who's educated and who can help you is to be able to be present in those groups, to be able to give you guys the advice that you need. So if you see me going through your groups and I'm saying, oh, you shouldn't have that on your plate, I'm not trying to be mean. I'm just trying to teach, and I'm trying to help you guys understand that, when you have rice and it comes out of the container and it looks just like the container, chances are they probably put a little bit too much rice in there. So I'm trying to teach you guys, trying to help you guys. Like I say, I go back to the very beginning. If I teach you guys what I know, then you guys will have the tools to make good choices, not just for you guys, but for your families, for the rest of your life. And that's my goal. I don't want to tell anyone what to do. I just want to teach you what I know. So hopefully that helps. And I love the containers because we don't have to measure food. I mean, who wants to wash all these measuring tools? I actually just, when I'm at home, I just fill my container and eat right out of it. To me, it just saves me time to actually having to put it on a plate. The only time I put it on a plate is at dinner, because we do sit down as a family and eat. But during lunch, I just fill my little containers up and I eat right out from the container. So, so anybody else have any questions for me? I'm looking at my phone to see if anyone texted me anything. I think I'd answered everyone's questions. So the new groups start for the 21-day fix and for Max 30. Those new groups start on August 3rd. At least for my groups, they start on August 3rd. I know every coach is different, is running. I know Jackie's got her group that's already going right now. I think Carrie's group is going right now. Size is the new program. It's kind of that little dance workout. I've been seeing lots of stuff on it on Facebook. I got my copy when I was in Summit in Nashville this weekend, and it's been a lot of fun. It's a new program, so I'm just kind of testing out the waters, and it seems like it's going to be a lot of fun. And then there is the inside of the file sections, there's always going to be meal plans. I am working on a couple more to write up some new ones that are going to go with size, 21-day fix, and Max 30, because they are all now they're all synchronized on the same plan, which does use the containers and does use the color coding in the meal, making all the meal plans. So I hope that helps. And also too, you guys, don't put so much pressure on yourselves to make these crazy recipes. I think it's just as simple to make salads and protein, sauteed vegetables and protein, and fresh fruit. To me, it's easy. Fill your container up and eat it. It's easy, it's food, it's healthy, it's clean, nothing processed, nothing from your frozen food section, and nothing from the deli. So for the next 21 days when we start our meal plan. Okay? Sound good, everybody? Yeah? All right.
Sorry. Hello.
Hello?
Did you say nothing from the frozen foods or frozen fruit?
No, frozen foods. No, frozen fruit is good. I know that you guys use those for
Okay, good. That scared me. I was like, oh my gosh.
Hey, what's she talking about now? I can't have frozen anything? Yeah, so that's fine. Frozen fruit is good.
And then one more question. Is it a big deal if you don't use all your yellow containers?
No, yellow, I don't.
Okay, and my other question real quick was, hello?
Uh-huh.
Is it a big deal if you don't use all your containers every day? I mean, obviously, you don't have to use your yellow container, but if you don't get all your, protein containers in, is that a big deal?
Your protein, I'd like you guys to get your protein in. If you had to cut any containers out, obviously your yellow's the first to go, and your healthy fats would be the second to go. So, because that's like your avocado and things. Your fruits are important. If you eat one of your fruits, that would be okay too. But for sure you want to get your proteins in, for sure. Especially if you're working out and you're doing, you know, any of the workouts, you need to get your protein. Your body needs the protein. Your protein and your vegetables are the two most important.
Can I ask a quick